We talk a lot about the benefits that Hyperloop can bring to Finland, but what specific benefits are we talking about, and how do we measure them? Hyperloop is an entirely new form of transport, and with that comes lots of challenges, as well as lots of benefits. It will connect city centers that were previously hours apart in minutes, and will deliver a step change in the relationship between distance and connectivity. In terms of general transport projects, the benefits of Hyperloop can be split into two types. First is transport user benefits. These are based largely on time savings, but also include congestion relief, frequency of pod departures, safety, and reliability impacts. The second type of benefit is wider economic benefits. These are an additional to standard transport user benefits. They value the productivity benefits that arise from higher employment densities in city centers. And these benefits can be either static, that means there are no land use changes in response to increases to transport and accessibility, or dynamic, which relaxes this fixed land use assumption, which allows for population and employment growth around stations. There are four types of transport user benefits. I'm going to talk a little bit about each one and how they would apply to Hyperloop. First, we have existing users of the mode. In the case of Hyperloop, this is clearly none. Second, we have diverted demand. This is users who transfer from another mode. In the case of Hyperloop, we imagine there would be significant switch from ferry and air between countries, as well as some diverted demand from car and rail within countries. Thirdly, we have induced demand. These are new users who previously didn't make the journey. So for example, we think that there would be a lot more commuters between Turku or Salo and Helsinki, as well as more demand between Helsinki and Stockholm. In terms of how this would apply to Hyperloop, we're looking at significant commuter increase as well as significant Helsinki-Stockholm increase. And finally, we have users of other modes that become less busy. So for example, if people are transferring from road to rail, then road congestion would be reduced. In terms of the impact this would have, we think that this would impact most significantly on currently congested roads. How do we actually value what these are? So we looked at the present value of transport user benefits over the entire lifespan of the project of 40 years. This means that, for example, in the first bucket, rail time savings will produce a benefit of nearly $8 billion over the 40-year lifespan of the Hyperloop system. Highway congestion relief, which is reduction of congestion stemming from users using Hyperloop, would be $4.5 billion. Infrastructure savings, or money that would normally be spent maintaining highways that are now reduced because of lower usage, would be $25 million. Reduction in accidents, $341 million. Noise reduction, because we believe the Hyperloop will be less noisy than traditional modes of transport, will be $27 million. Greenhouse gases, because we believe Hyperloop will be a more efficient method of transportation and therefore result in lower carbon emissions. Those benefits result in $131 million. Vehicle operating costs from reduction in vehicle operations, such as fuel savings, those would be $652 million. And finally, indirect taxation, and this is a negative benefit. And this is a result of reductions in fuel from using vehicles less. So these are taxes stemming from fuel receipts. The total of all of this combined is $13.2 billion, actually closer to $13.3 billion. Now that was for the entire project. What is it for Sweden and Finland? For Sweden, that amount is $4.8 billion. For Finland, that amount is $6.1 billion. summing up to 13.3 billion for the entire project. The next thing I'm going to talk about are wider economic benefits. These are in addition to transport user benefits. A couple of examples of wider economic benefits. The first is agglomeration. These are increased productivity gains arising from improved connectivity between areas of employment and increases in the density of employment and economic activity. What that means in simple terms is we had a city A before and city B that were separated by a certain number of kilometers. With the Hyperloop, city A and city B effectively become ABville. So this means Helsinki and Stockholm, for example, become one super economic region as opposed to two distinct cities. Another example of wider economic benefit is labor market accessibility. What this means is that Hyperloop increases the labor catchment area, which in turn increases businesses' access to talent and therefore productivity. So what we had before is a business, and it can access labor within a 25 kilometer radius. With the Hyperloop, this radius now becomes 50 kilometers because it becomes less time intensive to travel from the outer rings of that labor market catchment area to the business itself. What does this actually mean? In terms of wider economic benefits, there are two types, and I'll describe a little bit what they are and what it means in terms of the benefit to cost ratio. The first type is static wider economic benefits. These are benefits resulting primarily from agglomeration or the benefit of increasing density in locations where jobs in high productivity sectors are located. In a sense, this means that no land use change is included. When we do the calculations, we have a benefit to cost ratio of 1.84. When we relax some of the land use assumptions, we have dynamic wider economic benefit. So this would include land use changes and movement of populations, increases in employment as well. In terms of Helsinki Central Business District, that means 40,000 more jobs. In Stockholm's Central Business District, 50,000 more jobs. And in the Arlanda employment zone, 50,000 more jobs. These benefits include increase in output by hiring additional Central Business District workers, which will result in a 30% tax take for government. When we do the numbers, this is a 3.31 benefit to cost ratio. What does 3.31 actually mean? Is this high or low? We show that it's extremely high benefit to cost ratio when we compare it to similar transportation projects in the region. So for example, the UK High-Speed Rail 1, Phase 1, had a benefit to cost ratio of 0.96. And Phase 2 had a benefit to cost ratio of 2.3. Compared to these, the benefit to cost ratio of 3.31 is very high indeed. Thank you very much for your time.